Hello and welcome to part 23 of our Dominion 6 guide for new players. So, in the previous part we kind of went over our overall Bandar Log war, and we're now back on the turn where we defeated them. So we're currently on turn 33, and we're having to gear up our troops to go and attack Abyssia, so we're going to have to start moving people down there. So we're just going to blanket select everybody, and we're going to start moving them. You might have noticed this already, but I'll make sure that you know it just in case you haven't. So the size of the arrows that you see on the world map gives you an indication of the size of the forces that you're moving there. So if you just decide to choose, say if we wanted to just move Odry here, we click here and we see there's a massive arrow, we know something's not quite right. So overall, we're just going to move everybody over there. We are going to leave Thorismond here because what we'll want to do is we'll want to get him to build a temple in Bandar Log. It will mean that we have another territory that's going to be spreading our dominion, and we really kind of want to get rid of some of these scales as quickly as possible, just so that we can keep this land. Other than that, we've got Frithagern. He's just going to continue expanding. There's 100 enemy units here, but I think he can still take them. He's a pretty decent dude. And we'll move from Rid. We'll keep our site searching going. Over here, Lothar. Unfortunately, he's really not long for this world. I don't think that we'll be able to get him to survive the campaign, which is a bit of a shame. What we'll do though is we'll give him Boots to the Messenger, and we'll just see how far he can move. He could move to Worshin, but we'll just let him live out his days here, nice and comfortable. He can do a little bit of preaching. That'll be fine. Over here in Bethine, we obviously have this as one of our new fortifications, so we'll start recruiting mages. I don't think we'll bother recruiting troops. The amount of time it'll take to get over to Abyssia isn't really worth it. As well, in Bandar Log, we can see here we've got 2 recruitment points. We'll start making Master Smiths and we can use them to help our research. Again, given the distance between Abyssia and Bandar Log, we need such a big amount of infrastructure to move our troops down through here. I don't really see the point in doing it. What we're going to do is we're going to get our troops moved down through to Elklin, through into Summer Edge, and then from there we'll be able to amass against Abyssia. Underneath in the underground, so we can see that we're currently sieging down the glowing caverns, so we're going to grab our troops here. We're going to get everybody to move up to the womb. We've got our supporting force here of our small communion. We're probably going to use them to help us take the glowing caverns, and just so we can try out a little bit of communion stuff as well, show it off a little bit. We can maybe go into a bit more detail properly rather than the little ramble that I did previously. Over in the Cavern Realm, we have a bunch of sneaking units. There are some enemy units here, so we're going to move one of our Bakemono down to the Chilled Caves. And we're going to leave the other guys over here in the Cavern Realms. They're going to be ready to strike when we want them to. And then other than that, yeah, so we'll just get him to hide there. We've got a couple of scouts, we've got a couple more troops here, so we're going to get them to come through. We've got a bunch of sneaky boys that we're going to send through. We'll send up our champion over here. This palisade's only got 1 month remaining, but he can upgrade it to a fortress. And we can use this guy here to make a laboratory, and we'll be able to recruit some mages. And that, let's keep cycling through. So we have Renric, we have Priestsmith as well. We'll get him to grab a couple of troops, like so. And we'll try and kit him out as best we can. We'll give him a Helm of Heroes. We'll give... no point really giving him Girdle of Might. You can't really use anything else. As it stands, he has decent enough protection. We just really wanted him to be here for leading the troops rather than anything else. So we'll grab this small amount of troops. We'll set up his scripting a little bit for his units, just so in case they get caught by something. We're actually going to grab a couple of guys as well. I'm going to set them to Guard Commander, which is something we might want to do versus Abyssia. The reason for that is basically Abyssia has access to national assassins, so they're like scouts that can perform assassinations, like what's happened to our Berkshire champions over here in the chambers underneath when we've been trying to build our palisade. Normally when you get assassinated you're fighting by yourself, the rest of your troops don't matter. Say if Ernst got attacked by an assassin, these troops here wouldn't come to defend him. However, if he had a couple of guys set to Guard Commander, there's a chance that, being that they are his bodyguards, that they will also be present during the assassination. The chance of that is based off a couple of things, obviously random chance, but every assassin has a patience value, which can be increased through just their natural ability, or through items that grant extra patience for assassins. And the higher their patience, the less chance that there will be bodyguards or even just bystanders at an assassination for them to get distracted on. Conversely, if your unit has the bodyguard ability, which I don't believe has, no, these guys just have castle defense bonus. If a unit has the bodyguard ability, some units have it, that means that they are more likely to be present in an assassination attempt. So they can be really useful for defending really important commanders. Let's say you're going for the last throne of the game, you've got your Holy Three Priest, but you know there's a bunch of enemy assassins about. Giving them a couple of bodyguards will be fine. You can only have up to 5 bodyguards, but they don't count against your maximum squad size, so if you have the troops and you are a bit concerned about assassins, there's not really any point not to use them. So we'll just make sure that Ernst here is set up and we're moving everybody else along. Yeah, don't forget about folk. Why won't you move? Ah, you're in the Mudwar Caves, that's why. Other than that, we have another disease scout. We'll just make sure that he's coming along as well, just so we can keep him coming with us. Balthazar, what can we get you to make? There's nothing really that important at the moment. We'll just get him to keep making girdles and might at the moment. Albrecht, anything you can make. We'll make another bracer protection because we're kind of running out. We'll make sure we'll grab all of these troops on Hilderic and we'll send them down to Ulm. We'll stop recruiting commanders. We'll get some more priests. Speaking of priests, let's start handing out some more quills. Like so. Just to make sure that we have our research on the up and up. Speaking of our research, let's have a little look. So we're going to finish up enchantment level 5 this turn. And now's the real question about what we want to take next. I think personally we probably want to get alteration level 6. So alteration level 6 has some very good earth ability. So we've got group iron skin. Area effect 3 gives everybody the same effect as personal iron skin, increases our natural protection by plus 13. Huge amount of protection for our troops will be really, really good. We also get Iron Bane, so it means that all the armor of the soldiers on the battlefield will rust and weaken. Obviously that's not great, but if we're already increasing the protection of our units, then that'll be fantastic. However, if I remember correctly, Ulm's Black Steel, so Middle Age Ulm's Steel, the reason why it gives such good protection is as Black Steel, and I believe it counts as as magical for the purposes of this kind of thing. It does. So all of our units' armor is less likely to be affected by Iron Bane. In fact, it's not infected at all. So this is a fantastic spell for Middle Age Ulm, in that we will remove enemies' armor, unless it's magic, but it won't affect our guys' armor at all. So the whole idea behind Rust is it either reduces the protection or completely nullifies the protection of somebody's armor. We get this, we can then make it so that we win the armor game, not only through our fairly good armor, but then the fact we've also got a bunch of iron skin on our warriors as well, means that we're going to have much better protection than anybody else. Not only that, but it does give us an interesting ritual in Crumble, which means that we can cause a massive amount of wall damage very, very quickly so we can siege down forts if we need to. And other than that, we need to think about what we want to get next, potentially. If we look into enchantment, so we're going to get level 5 next term. That's going to give us some interesting things. Giant Strength Warriors, it costs 1 Earth Gem, massive area effect, gives plus 4 strength, will be really, really useful on our troops. One thing we can do if we get enchantment 6 is if we introduce an air mage into our communion, we can, so one of our air randoms that we have lying about, we can get them to cast Wind Guide if they have enough slaves to boost up their pass, which can be very, very useful. Of course, then we have the issue that will be causing much more fatigue to our communion slaves, but we'll get onto that when we get a second. Enchantment's quite nice. Also, Earthquake Warriors takes 4 earth to cast, but it means that all of your blunt, all of your slash melee attacks will stun. Size or strength negates. But the fact is that you can potentially stun lock enemies, especially when you have your flail guys. So it's a very interesting thing with the flail guys is because they have the 2 attacks, massively increases their chance they're going to stun somebody in front of them. Which probably means they're going to kill them far easier because, you know, when you're stunned, it's either 75% or 100% of your defense skill you lose. It really depends. Usually nets are 75%. I'm pretty sure stun would completely negate it, but I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately. But either way, we're continuing around our site searching, so we'll make sure we're going around with our necromancers here. We've got another scout. We'll get him to go over there. We'll make sure that we got Adelaide as well. He's going to build a citadel in Elkland. Elkland's really going to be our area where we're coming out pretty quickly. Forest of Gill is pretty good as well. So actually, let's give Hilderic to move up from the Forest of Gill to Summer Edge. We've got another one of our Necromancers. Let's give him one of our Boots of the Long Stride, just so he can get around a bit quicker. We'll send him straight to Summer Edge. He can search there for magical sites. We didn't find any death sites in the Throne of Pestilence. That's a bit of a shame, but cannot be helped. And yeah, it seems very strange to me that we haven't found that many magical sites, really. For the amount of provinces that we've checked, I would have expected us to have more, but it is the Middle Age, you know, these things will happen. Yeah, especially here, places like Gaeta, where they've had like the really, really, really bad death scales. I would have expected to find more death sites, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so we still got Gunderic here. We're gonna get him to make some more slave matrices. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong button. We're gonna, yeah, so he's got one more commander matrix. We'll get him to make more slave matrices. We don't have another astral random anywhere, do we? In the Moss Woods, perhaps? No, unfortunately not. Okay, that's fine. I was just hoping that we'd maybe have another astral random somewhere that we could use to help us forge more of our slave matrices so we can get a higher communion, so we can get a higher pass, but that's absolutely fine. We'll keep our searching going as best we can. And with that, that's everybody done. Let's double check our recruitment. So we're not actually recruiting anybody here. This will be because our income drops so much. We'll get another Wizard of the Earth. He can give us some interesting cross paths, and we'll get a couple of these guys here. So I've been mostly recruiting this infantry of you get 2 different types of infantry of for every unit. These guys are in chainmail and a half helm, so they have 19 protection. These guys, and they only cost 29 resources. I say only 29 resources. That's a lot of resources for like a normal troop, but it's not that bad. We get extra resources from our forts. We get extra resources from Master Smiths. These guys are black plate infantry. So they have 23 protection. They have the same protection as our Black Lords. They are completely decked out with full plate armor. Does mean they have a high encumbrance, so they'll fatigue out in combat fairly easily, but they have the protection that they should be able to deal with that. And given how much Abyssia can hit us, I think what we'll do is we will probably start trying to recruit these guys here. We have the resources to be able to do that, especially somewhere here like the Felden Forest. We can start pumping these guys out like nobody's business. It's one of the big shames that we're not really being able to use the Moss Woods. We can see in the Moss Woods we have so many resources just due to our number of Master Smiths here. If we had a way that we could easily move our troops around through these provinces, fantastic. This would be so much easier in the war against Abyssia. We can't, however, so we'll just have to deal with the hand we're dealt. Let's get some more Bakemonos. I'm going to send them over as well. And yeah, I think with that, so we've done all of our actions, we've done all of our recruitment. I think that's a good amount of gold to keep. What we will probably do is we'll get Rathari, we'll send him out with a bunch more gems, because he could potentially use them for something quite useful. We'll bring a couple of astral gems as well, and we'll probably give him, just because he's going to have all those gems and we don't want him to die, we'll give him his own bodyguard as well. So yeah, we'll get them to move down to Mile Deep. They can move over to the Glowing Caverns. They can give some gems over to them. We do have a bunch of gems on people like Clovis, who we probably, yeah, no, he does have some astral gems, great. So we'll probably use those gems as well in the Glowing Caverns, but having some more will help us quite a bit. We'll keep these Bakemono here for probably another turn. We want to see what Abyssia is doing. We'll probably get Trianus to move into Abyssia, actually, just so we get a bit more of a scout what's happening there. And with that, we'll end the turn. Okay, so we've ended the turn. We finished our research into enchantment. We found a magical site in the Mountain of Mist. The Statue of the Sitting God is a good one. Priest is ordered by 2, enchantment bonus. So this is interesting. So enchantment bonus means any ritual you cast in this particular province has its gem cost reduced by a percentage, in this case 20%. Fantastic. If you find one of these sites and it's a good place to put, say, like a fortification, or it's in a safe location, kind of like what the Mountains of Mist are just now for us, we could end up putting a lab here, sending anybody who's doing enchantment here a massive gem reduction in a cost for casting rituals. Anyway, let's go back to the messages. Other than that, doesn't look like we found any other sites. There was a battle in the womb. This is us attacking the province defense of Abyssia, which is a whole bunch of Bakemonos who are being burnt alive by their own commander. We come in, cavalry comes in, and we just absolutely destroy them. Yeah, we lost infantry of them, probably through friendly fire, but that's fine. There was a battle in Exbotha. We'll just watch this quick, keep it on fast forward, but this is just our Alberic fighting off against a fairly large force of independents. I think they said it was about 100. He's coming in, he's just going to start attacking these infantry. They'll absolutely wipe the floor with them. I'm not even concerned. And there we are, we've already routed them. Fantastic. At least these independents are the easier of the independents to take. We did lose, one of our guys did get dismounted, unfortunately, but, you know, that happens. Unexpected events at Gaeta, we lost some province income, some brigands came up in the Copper Canyons. In Bethine, our temple was destroyed because it killed a bunch of our population and an earthquake struck, and it's very cold this winter. Actually, I guess that's not too bad. Summer Edge is being a little bit of a shit again. We finished our palisades, and we are still destroying the forts, and we are starving because we have too many troops in a single place. You can see here our supply usage is pretty insane. So what we'll probably do is we will start trying to split our force just as they come down to Elkland. We'll get these guys to move over this way. They'll move through the Nidian Range, through White Peaks, through Elkland, and that's how we'll get down there. Again, we're still just not finding any death sites. It's a little bit of a shame. Let's see what we can make from our death mages, though, just to see if we can make anything that's interesting. So one good thing you can make with your death mages is the Skull Staff. The Skull Staff is a death boosting item, very similar to the Earth Boots that we can make with our Mastersmiths. So it gives whoever's wielding it death magic +1. Fantastic. Obviously you need to have a death pass to use this, but it's a very low cost, very easy to make death booster. So I think what we'll do is we'll make that, and we might be able to make something interesting with it. Let's see if we can get a hammer off anybody. We'll probably just grab it off Balthazar for now. I think Balthazar's made enough stuff. We'll just make sure everybody's researching. We're giving out quills. Fantastic. So we'll give that hammer over to our necromancer here. And we're going to get him to make a skull staff, and then after that, another good use we can use for our death gems, because we have a lot of death gems, we don't really have anything to use them for. If you have the excess gems and you can't really use them, skull mentors. Skull mentors are fantastic. 10 gems, a bit costly, but with a hammer that goes down to 8 gems for +14 research. It's not quite a 2-for-1 for gem cost to research points gained, but it's still very good. +14 research on a single mage is very, very good. It will mean that we'll run through our death gems very quickly, but you know what, I can deal with that. We'll get Thorismund here. He's just going to research. We did get another Astral Random, so we'll pass over to him the Boots of the Messenger, and we'll get him to start making his way down towards Summer Edge. Fantastic. With Kashar over there. Another thing we can potentially do, if we keep recruiting our Lizard Shamans, is we can use them in communions as well. And they will be a very good way of getting regeneration into our communions, so we should probably try and send one of them down as soon as we can. Can't get anything interesting in Sanguine Swamp. No, we can't. That's a shame. We'll make sure that we're doing our recruitment a little bit better. Obviously, everything got kind of muddled up because we lost all of our income thanks to the Throne of Night for a couple of turns, and that really impacted the amount of money that we were making. So let's grab a whole bunch. You can see we can get a lot of these guys because we have so many of our Mastersmiths here. So we're going to get a whole bunch of our more protected Black Plate infantry. We've got a bunch of our dudes over here inside Summer Edge. So we'll get them to start moving down into the caves. We're still sight searching. Gunderic, I would like to bring him along for our communion, but we'll get him to continue making the slave matrices just for now. And as far as Letro goes, we'll just get him to potentially... Yeah, we'll just get him to research, actually. He's not really going to be very useful. That's a problem with the independent mages. It's good for sight searching. Once you're done with sight searching, though, their utility kind of disappears a little bit. As far as everything we've searched here, so we'll set Swordsman down towards Erebond. We'll continue searching here. We'll continue searching here. We have our troops coming up. We'll start heading over towards the Glowing Caverns. We'll send our troops up through the womb. This bigger force, or not bigger force, sorry, but this forward force, we'll keep sending them into the underworld. What have we got here? We've got a bunch of Abyssia infantries and salamanders, and obviously they're huge phoenix, so we'll have to think of a way we're going to be able to deal with that. We'll get a couple more Bakemono here. We've got our other Bakemono force that we're going to send over towards the caverns. A bunch more of our troops that have managed to come through into the Endless Caverns. We have our fortification here complete. We'll build a lab. We will also build a fortress. A bunch of our guys are sneaking through. We'll make sure that we're still making these troglodytes. You can just see the recruitment points here just aren't good enough. We don't have the population really to recruit many of these troglodytes, but I've learned my lesson, and I will remember that we are going to set these guys to guard commander. If you're an assassin and you're coming up against troglodytes, good luck to you. They will probably kill you, especially if there's more than one of them there. So we'll set our commanders, we'll give them a couple of troglodytes, we'll probably use them to take out those pale ones when we get a second. From that, we might actually... Formagest has a decent number of crossbowmen. He'll keep sending down there. We might actually send Almeric up here. He can grab those troglodytes and use them with the infantry, and the cavalry already has. We'll give that cavalry... Oh, wrong person. We'll give that cavalry over to Formagest, and we'll keep him here with a small unit of infantry of own. Who do we have here? We have Morn. Bunch more troops. We'll give these troops over towards Arnold. We'll probably actually just give everybody to Arnold if we can. Like so. Can't quite give everybody to Arnold, but if we give him... we haven't got any more of those helmets of heroes, that's a shame. We'll give him braces of protection, just so he gets a little bit more protection. And then we'll send him and Manan down into Mile Deep to lead them forward a little bit more. I'm going to keep these guys hidden just for now, just because I am a little bit concerned about Abyssia coming out. I'll tell this guy to hide and wait. We have got another unit of Bakemono here, so yeah, actually, you know what? I think we now have enough that we can try and do our sneak attack and cut off the glowing caverns from support, because it'll take them a little bit longer to get here. We'll tell these guys to just stay behind their troops, like so, and then we'll set them up. And hopefully, well, they're undisciplined, their troops, so we can't actually tell them what to do, but hopefully they should be able to deal with the province defense here. We'll just have to see. Henrik, we're going to get him to head over to Abyssia as well. What is your pathing doing? That is some interesting pathing. So his pathing is currently taking him through Underhome, up through the gateway, over to Felden Forest, down through this gateway, and over to here. I think that's a little bit of broken pathfinding. We'll maybe ignore that and tell him just to listen to us, please. Okay, Frithegard's over here. He's managed to secure this very nice income province, so we'll get some defenses there. We'll make sure we get some defenses here. Lovely provinces, new provinces, completely untouched by Bandar Log's dominion, or at the very least haven't been touched as much as other places. We'll start sending him up towards Bethine. Over in Bethine itself, it does need to be upgraded. We'll get a mounted commander who can just come over here and upgrade it. We'll continue our site searching. Albrecht. What could Albrecht make for us? Well, we probably want more of those helmets of heroes, just because they're quite useful for our commanders. And with that, that is everybody done. So let's double check our recruitment. We have a few more priestsmiths here that we can use. Yep, so let's grab them. We'll send them over towards Felden Forest, and we'll make sure as well that they are scripted up to be casting all of the iron blizzards they can. There we go. So yeah, they're going to head over to Felden Forest. They're going to help out there. Let's hand out a couple more quills to anybody we can. Let's hand out a quill to Balthazar, because at least he gives a little bit of extra research, because he has an additional path. And we'll give the last one to Tulka. Taking a look at our research, we can see that we have 882 research points per month. Fantastic. We're going to have to think as well what we want to get after this. Potentially, we want to get higher in well, we have Flame Ward already, so if we use that with some of our guys with the fires in the jar, for example, we can use that to cut off the amount of damage we're going to be taking from Abyssia. Level 8 seems like a bit of a pipe dream at the moment. What we might do, actually, we might get construction level 7, just so we can get some more interesting things. It unlocks us Legions of Men, it unlocks Legions of Steel, which gives an entire battle-wide +3 protection for every single one of our units. Fantastic. That will really help us as well against Abyssia, especially if we're crumbling their armor and stopping them from being able to use it. As it goes, we'll just double check the troop movement, so we know they haven't taken anything up here. There doesn't look like there's an actual force here. We're not going to script this just now. We haven't managed to beat this fortification yet. We don't have any gems as well to use. What we'll do is we'll just tell anybody who can to preach rather than siege. They don't have that many units. I mean, Grimwald has a little bit of units, but we can just give them over to Gunderic, like so. We're going to get them to preach. We're going to try and push back some of this dominion so we reduce these heat scales as much as we can. We can see here over in our dominion that there's only heat 1 over here rather than the heat 3, potentially heat 5 that we're going to be seeing, heat 4 looks like, over in Abyssia. So that'll help us quite a lot. We'll make sure that we're still recruiting as much as we can. And we'll get some more Bakemonos as well. And other than that, we're just going about. We'll maybe recruit one of these spies. We might as well. and then we'll have the fortress ready in 3 months. Okay, I think we're ready to go from that point there. We're still moving our large force down through Elklin into Summer Edge. That's absolutely fine. We'll just see how we do. Okay, so we've searched for a bunch of sites, still nothing. So Formagus was a victim of an assassination attempt. So this seems to be where their assassin is lurking. Let's see, so we have our mounted commander here fighting against this assassin. He missed his first strike, his mount died. So I don't think it's looking very good for him. Yeah, he managed to hit him, but this is the unequally obese guy who is fortunately diseased. Was he diseased at the start of that battle? Is the question. He was. Okay, so it wasn't the damage that our guy did there. So he has killed one of our commanders. You can see here how annoying assassins can be in that they will kill your commanders, means you need to send other commanders to go pick up their troops that they were leading. It's just a pain. If you can guard with bodyguards, then it's a good idea. We're attacking over here in the Chiliad Caverns. Here come our Bakemono. Now, there's actually a larger province defense here than I thought there was. Yeah, now we have routed, so we have lost these units most likely. Whereas we are over here in the underworld. I think that's the first battle we've actually properly lost. But we did manage to rout these guys here in Abyssia, so that's fine. What happened there at the start? It would have been the Zots. So it was a province defense of Zots. They just they flew in, they flew onto our cavalry and just immediately died. So not the best idea. We have some more Bakemono here against a couple of mechanical men. They do actually have mage support, but we should be able to beat these Berk-tried warriors with the amount of summon elementals they're doing. And those mechanical men, we're going to struggle a little bit. Yeah, we've routed. So we did Adept of the Iron Order. Oh, I wonder if they have a site there. Interesting. If we can get some of these guys, Astral 2, Earth 2, gives us a much better chance of being able to make better items for our guys, and also our communions a little bit better. Anyway, so after a bit of a failed sneak attack, usually you'll have better troops when you're sneaking attacking. Bakemono aren't the best. They're good against small province defense, but their morale's really bad, so can be a bit of a shame. So there's sharks, we got some more earth gems, we got some gold, fantastic. We're still destroying the fort, and there was a lack of supplies. And Lothar died of a disease. Poor guy. It's always a shame when they go so young. Anyway, that was another, I wouldn't say successful turn. I think that's probably actually the worst turn that we've had so far, in that there was quite a few Abyssian troops. It looks like they're sending a very small force over to us in the Glowing Caverns, probably to try and knock us off this siege. I'm sure we'll be able to deal with them. We'll hopefully be able to deal with this annoying little assassin as well when we get a second. Other than that, we're just going to continue our fight into Abyssia, knock them out of the game, and then claim our victory. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.